So I'm sure you must have heard what the Money Point CEO Mr. Tosin said about the talent in Nigeria in the tech space, where he attributed everything to the hookup culture, the education system, and the Yahoo Yahoo culture. Well, I'm not saying he's completely wrong, and I wouldn't say he's completely right either. He sounds like he's among those that would see a system, but instead of addressing the initiating agents and sustaining agents, they ignore them and focus only on the product of the system. I wouldn't even talk about the initiator, which is we all know is the government and the policies they make, or the sustainers, which is the economy, the brain drain, and companies that exploit this situation. I'll also talk about the product of the system because that's where the engagement is. And if you did your basic chemistry, sometimes you understand that the product can also sustain a system or create a new cycle of it. And that's where I think his points were majorly on. Now, majority of people in tech now are self-taught, and the skills we acquire only grows when we continuously develop them. And companies like MoneyPoint, as they say, requires world-class skill levels. The whole culture has impeded that growth because instead of learning and developing that skill to suppose world-class level, many people settle for mediocre skills that can fetch them quick money. Let me give an example. A young guy of 19 learning software engineering full stack, broke as hell, learning from YouTube because that's where he can afford, has managed to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and PHP to some level. Obviously, he can't compete in the market because it's very competitive, and with his skill level, plus his country's reputation, no one wants to hire him in the global market. Meanwhile, he has friends already making money in the Yahoo industry, and they need his services even at that skill level. All they need him to do is to create an investment website for them. This only requires bare minimum skills, downloading free scripts, changing fonts and front-end colors, and adding a few API calls. That's all that is required, and he gets paid. Most of these websites are laggy and poorly made. You can clearly see it just by seeing the pages, not to talk of what goes on in the source code. They don't require much skill. Now, if he keeps doing this for 3 to 5 years, even if he eventually builds his own investment website from scratch, he still might not reach that world-class standard. The reason is that these companies need people that are able to create systems, redesign them, and are able to maintain existing ones. And all this requires decent knowledge of data structures and algorithms rather than basic programming. The priority now is not about writing codes that work. It's about writing codes that are efficient and scalable. And you can't acquire such skill by working for some G-boy in your neighborhood. And as for the hookup culture, how many girls involved in hookups are even thinking about tech? The thing is, these are the effects of the system, and we shouldn't be myopic by discussing only the effects instead of addressing the initiators of the system and what sustains it. Because even if locals attain world class level, many of them still wouldn't settle for local companies. They would rather work for companies abroad who are there mainly to exploit cheap labor. Now, here is my judgment. Bro is complaining of a system he's literally sustaining. He's literally confessing to a crime. To me, he's making a drill track. This is some King Von type shit. It's either he's talking from a point of oblivion or he's trying to exempt himself from being blamed or something. If he wants to be a solution to this problem, simply create a quota system. This is the number of Nigerians I will train every year. And whenever he does that or is doing that, I'll be happy to be part of it because I have a lot I want to learn from the fintech space. So yeah, be part of the solution, my bro. And also, thanks for the publicity you brought to this demonstration.